Hey, welcome back to Cloud Security. Today we're going to register for an Amazon account and deploy a cloud-based machine. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is an overview of the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud through AWS. Now the picture I have is from an individual that is in the video in Telegram that I popped in. And I think this individual got it from Udemy and then create a video that they distributed. They demonstrate how they do it themselves. So their name and the video information is all in Telegram there, so you can look at that. So AWS Global Data Center, once again from keyring, which I believe it's Javeth, I believe is the person. But anyway, global data centers. So over here, we've got regions and number of AZs, which we'll look at that in just a second, and new regions, which they're expecting to come soon. So if you look at this, back when I created my machines, I was over in California, so I was using the West Coast region over here. They've got several over here. They've got throughout the world, bunches of different data centers. And that's what you're looking at, right? This is where you're going to actually be putting your information. When everybody says that we're going to put our information in the cloud, it's actually, yes, on a computer and a data center. So a region is an independent geographic area, and an availability zone is multiple isolated locations and data centers within a region. So if we go over, bling, back over there, and we look at 20 regions and 5 coming soon, and 61 availability zones. So you can tell by the 20 regions right there that you've got to have more than one availability zone per region, because there are only 20 regions and 61 availability zones. So back over, the region, independent geographic area, and the availability zone, multiple isolated locations, data centers within the region, and you got that down there. Osaka apparently does not have 2. I'm not sure why. So their region, we've got the availability zones in there, like this, a couple there, and they've got some type of fiber optic connectivity between their locations. They're giving an example of U.S. West Coast, California. So how does this work? Well, we have an AWS account, users and services scope. How does each thing affect what? Well, if you go through and you've got an AWS account, that is what we're creating today. If you create your Amazon account, then you're working at a global level. So whoever has access over that account has access to your entire infrastructure. And that's kind of got global there. It's got your billing. You've got your access management for identity and access management there. And you've got the other services that are at a global scope. Now below that, we have S3 and DynamoDB. And below that, we've got the VPC and ELB. Now, Route 53 is just the interface that allows you to do DNS and other things like that. But we've got different databases where in the region level. And then below that, we've got the VPC ELB level. Now, that right there, where you see those little arrows, that's where you're breaking down to your virtual private clouds. So your virtual private clouds and your enterprise load balancing. Now, EC2 is your Elastic Compute Clouds. And these will actually be your servers that you're running inside of each of those zones. So that's the level. This is the scopes. This is how the levels break down. This is not necessarily, these are not machines. This is just the level at which machines are held. Now, of course, you got Elastic Block Storage, the block storage, and your machines are in each availability zone. So if you put your block storage on availability zone 3, then it is going to be slower than if you put your block storage over here in availability zone 1 with your servers on availability zone 1. That's just the idea there. That's where that works. So moving on. Now we're going to create an Amazon EC2 account. If you don't want to create an account, now this is free, but there are limitations here. So it is free to create an account. It's free to build the machine. But if you leave the machine running for over a year, or if you do a massive amount of downloading from this machine, that's uploading information and downloading information, then you can be charged for it. Now, I guess probably about $30 is about the range when you're running 3 machines with several thousand hits a month. So it's not expensive, but still not free is expensive. So this over here is free. However, if you download a lot of stuff, it is going to cost you money. So be aware of that and don't get yourself stuck with that. When you're ready to close your account, there's a link to close your account there. I'm going to post both of those links down in our description below so that you can get to the links and you can look at how to open an account, how to close an account, how to go in and manage your account too. So don't get stressed out about closing the account or costing money. It won't cost any money unless you download a whole lot of information, or if you leave it running for more than a year, or if you've got a couple of months on a tier, whatever it might be. Then once you run out on that, it will cost you money. I need to be perfectly clear about that. It is free, but it may cost you money, and they will require a full credit card in order to do this. If you want to look at this, you can look at visit aws.amazon.com/free for full offer terms, and that's going to just show you what machines are free and which ones are not. Okay, once you've created your account, let's go ahead and log into our Amazon AWS console. We want to go to the dashboard. So the way you do that is you click on the My Account and you choose the AWS Management Console. So I'm going to bring that up and we're going to look at that right away. So let me go ahead and see if I can bring up this page. All right, so we got the page here. We're going to go over My Account and go to the Management Console. When I log into the Management Console here, you can see we've got recently visited services like that. It's got that kind of thing going on. You got to build a solution, etc. And we can do whatever we want from this Management Console. There's also a dashboard view, which the dashboard view may be something that's going to be fun to use first of all. But here we are at the Management Console, so let's go ahead and get started with this. Oh, I guess I should mention that if you don't get the AWS Management Console option in the corner, you can go up to Services up here. You can choose the EC2 for Compute Cloud and go over to the EC2, and this will give you your dashboard right there. So that right there is where we're at, and this right here is just a fine place. And it's, you can see it's the same thing as the other one we were at. So you can go up to Services, and you can choose the Compute and choose EC2. And that's probably going to be the most straightforward way to do it, just to be sure that we're all on the same page. Now, we're going to launch a machine, and this is choosing Launch Instance right here. So choose Launch Instance. Once we choose to launch an instance, there are free tier only options. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And we've got a couple of different choices here. We've got Amazon Linux 2, Amazon Linux AMI, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. And we can sit here and just scroll down and pick whichever one we want to use. So lots of options there. A lot of fun to be had by all. Okay, so I'm going to go pop back up, and I'm going to choose an Ubuntu Server 1804 long-term support, HVM, SSD, volume type, and it's going to be choose free tier eligible. Excellent, super. So 64-bit, x86 versus ARM. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to select that. And yes, you did see that. We did have an ARM processor available to us, so we could choose one. Now, walking through here, I'm choosing the free tier, so I'm going to let this free tier run. I'm not going to make any selections here, but feel free to look through all the selections and see what you've got. Now I'm going to go Review and Launch. Over here, we've got the instance type, the T2.micro, ECUs, variable, virtual CPUs 1, memory 1 gig, instance storage, EBS only. This optimized available, network performance, low to moderate. There you go. And we can launch this machine. Now I can choose an existing key pair or select a key pair. If I do that, I can create a new key pair here by clicking there and create a new key pair for this machine. Or I can choose an existing key pair and just choose one of my existing key pairs. For this, because this is our first time doing it, I'm going to create a new key pair. So I'm going to choose new key pair, and I'm going to say this is Classroom Demo right there. Download the key pair. So right there, it gives me a choice to download the Classroom Demo PEM file. And I want to be sure I download that and don't lose it. If you lose it, your machines are gone. So right here, we're going to save this file. Do not lose your keys. And then we're going to go ahead and launch this instance. Okay, it's now launching. Once you click on that link right there, it'll bring it up for you. I'm going to give it just a couple of seconds here to get started. It takes about 10 seconds to get the machine up and running. And once that machine's up and running, you can go ahead and log into it. Okay, we've clicked the machine now. I clicked the little link. It went ahead and it's showing me my public IP address. There's the public IP. It went ahead and assigned one for us. And these are the details on my machine right there. You can look through that. So once we have those details, once you get to this point, you are good to go. So we want to log into this machine right now. So we're going to log into it. We actually could log into it via DNS, but we're going to just log into it via the public IP address, and we're going to use that PEM file to get into it. So let's get this IP address, your IP address, don't get my IP address, and let's get this IP address and then log into the machine. So you get a little copy there. You can copy that thing. Copy to clipboard. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up a terminal, and we're going to log into the machine with a terminal here. So let me go ahead and pop in over here. The way we're going to log into this is SSH, and we're going to use our PEM file. Now, one of the tricks with downloading things here from Amazon is that when you download it, it's probably going to mess up your permissions. So we're going to try it. We'll see what happens. Another thing is Amazon sets up an EC2 user account, or they set up a root, or they set up an Ubuntu account. And since this is an Ubuntu box, I'm going to go ahead and type Ubuntu and we'll see what happens. Okay, there you go. So sure enough, we've got bad permissions on my PEM key here. So if I look at that key, it is. We have bad permissions on that. So I'm going to go ahead and chmod. So chmod 600 to my classroom demo right there, PEM. And that just gives my user right there read and write access to this file. If you're in Windows, it probably would not give you any errors at all. But if it did, just go through and only give your user account read and write access to it. Okay, let's go ahead and log in. So I'll try this again. Oh, good. So there we go. Now we've logged into it and it worked. And so we're up and running and everything looks just fine. If you get to this point, you're done with the lab. So at this point right here, you can take a screenshot, upload it, and you are done. Next week, we're actually going to install services on our machine, and we're going to get this machine up and running with a web server. We're going to put some other kind of fun stuff on it. We're going to enable DNS, and we're going to install an SSL certificate, and we're going to do all that for free. So it's going to be kind of a fun thing to do to go ahead and configure all that stuff up and get all your systems set up. It's going to be a completely public with a real name. You'll have a real domain name. We're going to use a free service to register a domain name, and we're going to use a free service to install an SSL certificate. So it's going to be fully operational, and you'll be up and running. So I hope you find that right here we've been able to go through this entire exercise in less than 10 minutes. You've been able to create an account, build a machine, and log into it. So there you go. I hope that this works out really well for you, and I look forward to talking to you next week when we build out our services.